What's up, guys? Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 1 of the Game Plan Pod. I'm Peter.
And I'm Vincent.
You can watch all of Season 1 on Spotify, by the way. Now, let's get back into this week's episode.
No sleep till.
It's 3-1 to Alonso. He flies one to right field. Back goes Brennan to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here.
All right, so there has been a lot of news about coaches retiring or stepping down or being fired recently, including Pete Carroll, Mike Vrabel, Nick Saban, and most importantly, Bill Belichick. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding the question that, who's more influential to the Patriots' history, Bill Belichick or Tom Brady? So, Vincent, what do you think?
I'm gonna have to go with Tom Brady here. I know that obviously like Bill Belichick and the Patriots drafted him in the 6th round and developed him to the quarterback that he was, but also Tom Brady put in the work to be the quarterback he is today. And without Tom Brady, Belichick has a losing record, but obviously the team isn't as good when he had Tom Brady and all those other guys. But at the same time, Tom Brady took a team like the Buccaneers, who were one of the worst in the league, and took them to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl in his first year, blowing out one of the better teams in the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, who's the next best QB rising up. And I just think that without Tom Brady, I don't think Belichick has the success with the Patriots like he would have without him. As I think that with Drew, say they still stuck with Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady never came in, I think that they wouldn't have like the 6 Super Bowls they have, and I think that maybe Tom Brady will obviously not be known as the GOAT like he is now. And I just think that on both sides, they're both some of the greatest. The ones, Bill Belichick, one of the greatest head coaches to ever exist. Tom Brady, one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback to be on an NFL field. But in my opinion, I think that Tom Brady is more important to the New England Patriots franchise than Bill Belichick.
Now, look, I understand where you're coming from. Obviously, Tom Brady, greatest quarterback, greatest player in NFL history to ever play the game. But you have to understand where these two guys stack up against each other. I mean, Bill Belichick is probably unanimously one of the greatest, is the greatest coach of all time. And I just said Tom Brady is the greatest. So you can't have one without the other. Obviously, Tom Brady has shown that when he was on the Bucs and he won a Super Bowl. But just imagine when he's back on the Patriots, he wouldn't have done that without Bill, and Bill wouldn't have done it without Tom Brady.
I completely agree with that.
In my opinion, this question is stupid. No, Bill is not better than Brady. Brady's not better than Bill. You can't compare a coach to a player. That's where I think.
I completely agree with that. You can't compare them, as I see where you're coming from, where they're both extremely important. As I think with one without the other in that franchise, like if Brady didn't have Belichick, I don't think Brady ever sees the field, in my opinion. I don't even think maybe he doesn't make the roster, possibly. But without Brady, Belichick maybe doesn't have all the Super Bowl wins he has and success he usually had, like I said. But at the same time, they both helped each other be better than what they were expected to be. And I just think that what you're trying to say is that without each other, the Patriots wouldn't be the same franchise everyone knows their history as they are today.
And people always talk about, well, Brady won more Super Bowls than any team, any franchise. Well, he also has his down moments, like when he played twice against Eli Manning in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. With my point.
The offense was completely distraught in both of those games, and you could see Brady was struggling the entire game with that huge Giants defense. So it's not all – you can't just say Brady's better because maybe he won in Tampa. Like, you can't just say that Bill wasn't a good coach because he was carried. Like, no one was carried in this relationship. It was a team effort, and when you have two of the greatest icons in sports history playing on the same team, you're going to win. You're going to win.
I completely agree. 100%. They're just two of the best to ever be in the NFL. One as a coach, one as a quarterback. Doesn't matter. Still two of the best will be always remembered. Both Hall of Famers for sure. And I just think that that either one of them without each other, they needed each other at that moment. I just think that they both needed each other, and it's just like it was a perfect relationship, quarterback and a head coach that was like on like his what? That was like his first couple years coaching the Patriots, and Brady came in. And I just think that these two without each other wouldn't be where they are today. Staying on the quarterback side of the ball, let's go to Jordan Love. Is he the successor now to Aaron Rodgers after the season he has had?
All right. Let's play a little game here.
All right.
I'm gonna give you 3 players, and I'm gonna tell you their stats, and you tell me who's better.
Okay.
First player, 28 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 94 rating, 6-10 record.
Okay.
Second player, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 96 rating, 9-8 record.
Okay.
Third player, 19 touchdowns, 24 picks, 72 rating, 9-7 record.
I'm going to go with the 9-8 record with 32 touchdowns and 11 picks.
The first player with 28 touchdowns, 13 picks, that's Rodgers' first year starting for the Packers.
All right.
The third player, 19 touchdowns, 24 picks, is Brett Favre's first year with the Packers starting. And the second player is Jordan Love this year.
He had a great season.
That's how I answer your
and both of it and all their first years starting. And I'm not sure if Brett Favre was behind the quarterback for 2 years. I'm not sure about that, but I know that Jordan Love, he was behind Aaron Rodgers for 2 years. Aaron Rodgers was behind Brett Favre for like 2-3 years. And in their first season startings, they had pretty similar seasons. But Jordan Love overall had the best season out of all of them in their first year starting for the Packers.
That's crazy.
And it just seems that Jordan Love seems like he will be the future quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
I definitely think Jordan Love is the future.
Yeah,
he completely proved himself this year. I mean, when he made the playoffs in the first year with the youngest wide receiver core in the NFL, it's just crazy. I mean, there were a lot of injuries to his team, like Christian Watson barely played, Aaron Jones was injured, but they continued to pull through. I mean, Jordan Love has just been impressing me all year, and now that he finally made the playoffs and he'll be playing against Dallas, maybe he could prove something. You never know.
You never
Packers,
know
Dallas, it's always got a tradition of a huge rivalry in the playoffs in the first round specifically. So you never know what could happen with Jordan Love, but I do think Jordan Love is future.
I completely agree. He had a great overall season for his first year starting, and with the weapons he had that weren't like crazy like top 10 or all that top 5, he still managed to bring a 9-8 record to Green Bay, which this year was meant to be a rebuilding year if I'm not mistaken. It was meant to be a rebuilding year. Everyone was saying for the Packers. They are 9-8, made the playoffs, and I'm saying this here. I think they are a very sleeper team in the playoffs. They have a solid defense. Their offense is pretty good, and I just think that great coaching too, 100%. And I just think that they're a sleeper team, and I think the Cowboys should not underestimate this team, as I think the Packers could shock the Cowboys this weekend.
I 100% think that as well. Although this is where Jordan Love is going to get real tested. First playoff game of his career starting. He's visiting Dallas, who have ruthless fans.
They have an insane defense.
Led by Micah Parsons. So this is going to be a test. Even if they lose this game and he plays well, I still think he's a franchise quarterback. Although, if they lose and he doesn't play good, I'm not going to take any harsh decisions if he is or is not. I still think I will stand by it even after the game is played. Because you have to see rookie year stats. I mean, Favre had 24 picks in his first year starting with the Packers. And the next year he had 33 touchdowns and 14 picks. So you see how players improve over time. Jordan Love is really young, so he's plenty of time to develop. And he looks really promising to me.
So I completely agree. He does look very promising. And I think that if they can get him a true, say, wide receiver 1 in the mix there, like Christian Watson's good, Jaden Reed's pretty solid, but I think if they get a solid wide receiver 1 on that team, Jordan Love can have a major season next season if he has a true wide receiver. I think that he already had a great season. Obviously, he had 32 passing touchdowns, over 14,000 passing yards. Not 14,000, 4,000 passing yards. But still, as everyone on there, including myself, I underestimated saying, the Packers aren't going to be that good. I think I had them finishing with a record of 7-10, or even worse than that, because I didn't think Jordan Love was going to be that good.
You prove us wrong.
And he proved everyone wrong, showing that he is the quarterback of the future for the Packers.
All right, now let's move on to a question more broad that is between two teams. So, San Francisco 49ers are the 1 seed in the NFC. The Oklahoma City Thunder are tied for first in the West so far. Now, who do you think has the brighter future? The San Francisco 49ers or the Oklahoma City Thunder?
See, this can go either ways, because the Niners do have some young players coming on their team, but they also have some older players, but they also, obviously with the cap situation, they don't have that much cap space. With OKC, I looked it over before. They had, I think, pretty much all their players are 29 and younger, so a very young team, have great team chemistry already as the younger they are. They're tied for first in the West, as you said, and if you think about it, this team's only going to get better as they get older, as they're this young playing this good already, and I just think that this team, I'm going to go OKC having the better future here. They have a young team, seems like they're great team chemistry, and they're only going to get better from that here on now, as they're going to develop as they get more used to the NBA, as they're all young, and I just think that this team's going to have a great future for the next 5 to 10 years.
2 years ago, the Oklahoma City Thunder had 22 wins. We're not even at the All-Star break, and they have 26 wins. What does that tell you? It tells you that the Thunder are the best team in the league, and I stand by that. You have an MVP candidate, 2 NBA Rookie of the Year candidates in the last 2 years, and they are tied for the 1 seed as of January 12th. The Thunder have 15 first-round picks and 22 second-round picks in the next 6 years.
Wow. That's a great thing.
Let me say that again for the people in the back. 15 first-round picks and 22 second-round picks in the next 6 years.
That's great for them. That'll be a great future.
Oh, great young coach in Mark. And this team is just proved so much to me and how they overcome everything. They improve every year. 2 years ago, we were in the lottery. We got the second pick. We sucked. And the year after that, we lost Chet Holmgren, the second pick in the draft, and we made the play to defy all the odds in the entire season. And now we are tied for the 1 seed with Shea looking like an MVP candidate, Chet looking like a front runner for Rookie of the Year, J-Dub, Jalen Williams playing like an absolute stud, and you just have so many great players on this team. Like Lujan Store, a great perimeter defender. You have Isaiah Joe, who they signed from the 76ers G League team 2 years ago. That is one of the best three-point shooters in the league. You have Aaron Wiggins, Kenrich Williams, great grit coming off the bench. I mean, you have Josh Giddey, who had a triple-double in 20 minutes last night. I mean, we just beat a professional basketball team, Trailblazers, by 62 points.
I saw it the other day.
That's
crazy.
That's
that
the
was
fifth
crazy.
most margin in NBA history. And to put that in perspective, 2 years ago, the Thunder lost to the Grizzlies by 70. 70, which is the greatest margin in NBA history. So we're just setting records here. I mean, this is a crazy improvement. I've just never seen this before. Like, this, I might be crazy to say this, but this Thunder team might be better than Durant and Westbrook and Harden's trio. I know that's very crazy to say, but it just seems like it's going that way. I mean, this team has so much energy. I mean, I know this has nothing to do with. I know that's what I'm about to say has nothing to do with chemistry, but they make a lot of TikToks together.
Yeah, and the TikToks, it just shows
hilarious.
but it just shows like how they're such, and you never know if they're going to be better than that trio or that team. But I think that what you're saying is that 100% true. They have a great team chemistry. They're already an amazing team. They're only going to be getting better in the next coming years. And they just have such a great young core. And like you said with the draft picks, they're only going to get younger and better. So they're just going to have such a great, solid future set up for them. They set themselves up so well for the future. I won't be shocked if they win an NBA championship in the next couple years. They could possibly win this year.
Give it up for Sam Presti, the GM. I mean, first you trade Paul George for SGA and a dozen first-round picks, like a crazy amount of first-round picks. Then you sign him before he hits his ceiling when he averaged 24 points per game at a crazy salary. Like he deserves way more. Then you go ahead and get Coach Mark Daniel, which he has his times where he doesn't have great rotations, but he knows what he's doing. He's creating the chemistry with the team, and I know we took a step back with Josh Giddey's situation, and I know he lost some confidence because of that, but we're just getting back on track. I mean, this trio keeps impressing me every game.
I completely agree. And just to go over back to the Niners quickly, it's not saying they don't have a good future ahead of them, as they have a good young quarterback in Brock Purdy. They also have good young weapons, but at the end of the day, they are going to be losing some of the players they have, some of their big time players, as they don't have a lot of cap space. They only have They only have $1 million in cap space this offseason, and who's a free agent? Chase Young's a free agent there, so they really don't have a lot to spend right now, and could be losing some of their key guys on defense and offense. But at the end of the day, they're still a great coach team, and Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaches in the NFL right now. And still, their management the management runs their team so well that even if they lose some of these big guys, they're still going to be a great team the following next season, because they run their team so well, and they just know how to work around like the salary cap that they have.
Now, I know the Niners have like a great history. I mean, they have like 5 championships or something.
Pretty sure 5.
But this is the time for OKC to define who they are. They do not have a good history. I mean, they weren't great with the Supersonics. I think they only won 1 championship. But now, they're only defined for, the Kevin Durant era, Russell Westbrook era, blowing a 3-1 lead to the Warriors, losing in the finals. I mean, but now, this is the time where Sam Presti wants to define who we are. We are energetic. We are going to be one of the greatest franchises of all time. And this dynasty that we're building is going to be one to live for.
All right, heading back over the football a little bit. And one of the big questions this offseason the Giants have is, will number 26 be back in Giants blue? Will he be back?
Vincent, if he isn't back, I literally don't even know what I would do. Because ever since he was drafted, I believed in him. When he was drafted with the second pick, everyone was like, a running back with the second pick? The average running back, the best running back usually goes in like the second round. But Saquon Barkley has been my favorite player since he's been drafted. If number 26 is not on the roster next year, we are screwed offensively.
I completely agree with that there. Because if we don't get a wide receiver 1 and whatever we do at the quarterback situation, I don't think we're going to have a good offense. Because he is a big part of that offense. Saquon is one of the biggest parts of that offense working well. And without him, it hurts. Like, obviously, like, he dealt with some injuries over the years with the Giants, but still, now that he seems like he's healthy and he's still playing good. He might have not broken 1,000 yards this year, but still, he was still a big part of the offense when he didn't play. When he didn't play, our offense wasn't insane. It wasn't good, but we need him. We need him on the field. I think the Giants do need him, and I want to pay him, but at a reasonable price for him. But at the same time, like I want him back. Like I 100% want him back. He's one of my favorite players too. I just think that he's one of the biggest parts of the offense, like I said, and I think that he's just so valuable to this franchise that you can't really let him walk. You can't let him walk. Like, you don't want to end off bad terms with him. And he said he wants to be a Giant for life. And, of course, we all want him to be a Giant for life, too. And this is like the same thing like with the Mets are dealing with Pete Alonso. If they're going to trade him, like they should not trade him. They should 100% extend him, as he is, in my opinion, the face of the franchise. But Saquon is that one running back you won't get that will be this good, and you take him with a first-round pick. Like, obviously, like, he isn't like Christian McCaffrey good in my opinion, but same thing. Saquon is I feel like the most important part to this was the most important part to this offense after Daniel Jones went down, because obviously Tom DeVito had a little bit of a run. He was having all right. Tyrod Taylor, solid backup quarterback, but without Saquon Barkley on their side of the ball there. I don't think they don't run the offense as well as they do. And just Saquon put the team on his back the past couple of years. He has put in the team on his back almost.
Saquon Barkley's definition of creating something out of nothing. Ever since he was drafted, he is the worst O-line in the league, consecutive years. I mean, this guy, like I said, his definition of creating something out of nothing. I mean, just the things he has done. Like, he is a consensus top 5 running back every single year. Just the energy he plays with and the tenacity, it's just unheard of. His work ethic, his just overall as a player and as a human being, he's a great human being. He said, he does a lot for charity, but I know NFL is a business, but even I know Joe Shane is like a recent GM, like, we just got him and all that. But you have to recognize what he has done to this franchise. Like, he is one of the most prominent running backs in this franchise. And I know you have guys, so many, running backs that have great seasons with the Giants, but Saquon Barkley is just one of the most useful Giants players of all time.
I completely agree because you can use him in the receiving game too. 100%, he has great hands. And at the end of the day, everyone says, like, oh, you can take a running back in the second and third round, fourth round. They'll be amazing still for you guys to be the RB1.
It won't be the same.
It won't be the same without Saquon. Saquon doesn't – he's so important to this team, and I just think that without him, it's just going to be a different run offense. And he's just such a versatile player with, obviously, I said, in the receiving game and the running game because he's open. When he gets open in the receiving game, if he gets open – on open field after he gets the ball, he's gone down the field like 40 yards. Like, we all have seen it. And I just think that losing Saquon, if we lose Saquon this offseason, I don't know how. It's going to be a hard pill to swallow. A very hard pill to swallow.
I mean, he just brings so much momentum into him. Like, when the Giants are down and you need something to spark, he'll just break one free. And you can see the whole sideline just getting fired up and that we could win this game. And that's what Saquon Barkley brings. He never gives up. And, when we beat the Saints 2 years ago, that was a huge game. Remember with Kenny Galladay?
Yep.
He is just so important to this team. And if he goes,
as obviously like Giants on either end saying like Saquon can go, he just wants too much money. But at the same time, I want him back. I just feel like you. Like, I just want him back. Like, he's so special. He's so special to this team. And I just think that even though people say, like, oh, you shouldn't pay running backs a lot of money, he's one of the best players in the NFL, in my opinion. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL, without a doubt. No questions asked. And just losing him and seeing him maybe in a different jersey next season, it's going to hurt to see that if he is in a different jersey next season. Because I've been seeing that if Joe Shane and Saquon can't get a deal done, then they could not use the franchise tag on him and just part ways, which I don't want to see that happen, and no one likes getting the tag placed on them. But at the same time, like him in a different jersey, it's gonna be hard to watch.
Sick to my stomach.
It'll be hard to watch.
Sick to my stomach.
All right, so now obviously this weekend is NFL playoffs starting, NFL wildcard weekend. Let's get hype. I'm excited for the playoffs. The Giants might not be in it, but it's NFL playoffs. Don't worry, they'll be back next season. I have all the faith in them. But so let's get on. We got our playoff bracket predictions. It's going all the way to the Super Bowl, and you guys can check back in this episode to see if we got any of them right. And let's get into it.
All right, so the first game we have is Green Bay visiting Dallas. Obviously, we talked about this with the Jordan Love situation. Yep. Vincent, who do you have in this game?
Sadly, I'm going to go with the Cowboys here, as I think that it's going to be a very competitive game, back and forth maybe, but I just think that the Cowboys' defense will be a little too much for Jordan Love to handle eventually at the end, and the Cowboys will come out on top in a very close game, but the Cowboys will be the better team here.
Yeah, I completely agree here. I think Dallas is just much better offensively and defensively. I think they're a more experienced team, and I think Green Bay is just too young to pull an upset off like this in the playoffs.
Yeah. So next game we got the Rams at the Lions.
I have the Rams visiting Detroit, winning this game. I mean, Matt Stafford and his offense has been electric from the start. I mean, Matt Stafford's in the MVP conversation. He's not going to win. but he's like top 10. So just to show like how he came back from last year, and Puka Nacua making the Pro Bowl in his rookie year, Cooper Kupp, coming back from his injury, and Kyron Williams being one of the most prominent running backs in this league so far. I have the hot Rams beating this Lions team.
And I have the Lions winning this. I just think they're a little bit of a better team here. But the one thing the Lions are a little shaky on is their defense. I don't know how I feel about their defense here. I think it's a little shaky. They usually let up a lot of points, and that could be something that the Rams can use to their advantage to somehow come out on this game. And Matthew Stafford, it's like a revenge game, Jared Goff revenge game. Both their former teams they got traded for each other, and it will be a fun game to watch. It's just gonna be very fun. Matt Stafford versus the Lions and Jared Goff versus the Rams. And I think the Lions will come out on top here because I think they just have overall a little bit of a better team.
All right, now let's head on over to the last NFC game of the wild card. Philly visiting Tampa. Who do you got?
I got the Buccaneers winning. And people are going to say, oh, the playoffs are different. The Eagles will be different in the playoffs. He might be without A.J. Brown this week. I think Darius Slay might not play, and Devontae Smith might not play. It's still a lot of big players on this team, but still. This team hasn't looked good, even with those players. They haven't looked good like how they were last year. To end out the season, they were 1-5. They got the Giants blew them out. The Giants blew them out the last week of the season when they're competing for the division. They played all their starters, and they benched Jalen Hurts in the second half. Because we were up 24-0 at that.
Also, they want to re-injure his finger.
Yeah, exactly. That's also a reason. But I have the Buccaneers winning. Baker Mayfield having a great season with them. I think, did he get 30 passing touchdowns? I'm pretty sure somewhere around there. Him and Mike Evans seem to have a good connection there. Chris Scott was on that team too. Rashad White's a good, solid running back. And the Buccaneers defense, pretty solid. But at the end of the day, Eagles defense has a secondary. Eagles secondary isn't that good. Eagles secondary, in my opinion, looks horrible. It looks very bad. It gives us a lot of big plays. But I think the Buccaneers will come out on top here as they will win this.
I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning this game. Just kidding. Let's go Tampa. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers upsetting Philly in their home stadium. Let's go Tampa. Baker Mayfield is going to show him why he's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise quarterback with this win in their home stadium. Philly are frauds. Jalen Hurts is not good. Nick Sirianni is a horrible coach. And by the way, they should get Bill Belichick to replace him. That would be fantastic for them, but horrible for me. But I still have Tampa winning this game as the division leader, beating Philly. I'm very, very, very confident in this.
I completely agree. I'm confident in this too. And I just think the Buccaneers are going to be the better team here. All right, so heading on over to the AFC. The first game we got is Browns at Texans. Peter, who do you got winning that?
I do have the visiting Browns winning this game. Joe Flacco's going to continue his winning streak. Same thing with the Packers. The Texans are just too young to compete at a high level in the playoffs, in my opinion. But the Browns, Kevin Stefanski has playoff experience. He almost went to the Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield. And so, you Myles Garrett, you don't have Nick Chubb, but Amari Cooper just had a historic game a couple of weeks ago. I do have this explosive Browns offense and defense winning this game over a young Houston Texans.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I have the Cleveland Browns winning as well, as they have been hot these last couple weeks, and they have a stellar defense, one of the best defenses in the league this year. And it's just I think they're going to outbeat the young Texans teams, like you said. They don't have enough experience, but in my opinion, if the Texans do win this, I think they could be a little scary, but I think the Browns will come away, as the Browns defense will be a little too much for this young Texans team. And the Browns with Joe Flacco now leading this team with their offense now clicking with Joe Flacco too. Amari Cooper, like you said, having a historic game. I think this Browns team could go on a run, but I think I have them winning over the Texans.
One thing that could happen is a Jaguars game like last year, where Jaguars upset the Chargers. And, Jags were a young team last year with Trevor Lawrence in his first playoff game. This could happen with the Texans, but I wouldn't get too started up on that.
All right, next game we got in the AFC. We got Dolphins at Chiefs. Tyreek Hill returns to Arrowhead.
I have the Dolphins winning this game. The Miami Dolphins visiting the Chiefs. I heard there was a negative 30-degree wind chill in this game.
Yep.
I don't know how that's going to affect the players, even if they're going to play the game. I heard it might be postponed, or because it's like the worst weather ever, and Tua plays in Miami, so it's gonna be it might be rough for him. But I do have Miami dethroning the fraudulent Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes has just looked beatable on this entire season, and Kelsey is having one of his worst, well, not one of his best seasons in his career. This is the first time that, may I add, that Travis Kelsey cares about something more than football, and that would be Taylor Swift. And she's ruining this team, ladies and gentlemen. She's ruining this team. Travis Kelsey is not playing the same as he did the previous years, where he was consensus number 1 tight end in the league. I know he still might be the tight end 1, but he doesn't look like a weapon 1 that this team can use and will always go to.
Hey, Kelsey hasn't had the best season I don't think that really Taylor Swift affected this team too much and all that.
Yes,
but
it has. She sucks.
But I do have the Dolphins winning this game too. I just think that the Dolphins' offense is gonna be way too explosive for this Chiefs defense, and I just think the Chiefs offense isn't gonna produce against a solid Dolphins defense as obviously in their young rookie wide receiver 1 right now, Rashee Rice had a solid rookie season, and with the Kelsey there too and Pacheco, I don't think that's gonna be enough to beat the Dolphins, as they are a very fast-paced team. And I think that Tyreek Hill is going to put a big number up on his old former team.
All right, so now we have the Pittsburgh Steelers visiting Buffalo. So far, we have the 4 seed being dethroned, the 3 seed being dethroned. And so who do you have in this game?
I have the Buffalo Bills winning this game.
I mean, I guess it's pretty obvious, Except not for me. I have the 2 seed being dethroned by the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mason Rudolph. Yes, you heard that right. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Buffalo Bills. Now, you might call me crazy, but after the Buffalo Bills lose a devastating loss to the Mason Rudolph and Mike Tomlin, you have to come back to this episode, like and comment Peter has the best takes. You have to do that after the Steelers win.
I'm gonna tell you why I have the Buffalo Bills winning, as they are a very high risk, high explosive team too, as they do take the high risk down the field usually. But Josh Allen does have a little bit of a turnover problem. But I just think that the Steelers team isn't really solidified as like a dominant team. Like their defense is okay, their offense is somewhat shows up here and then. But I think that this Buffalo Bills team's gonna not demolish them, but put up a good amount of points on them, score a little bit. But I think the Steelers will remain in the game till the end, as Mike Tomlin obviously is a great head coach. He always finds a way to win. And I'm saying the Steelers could beat the Buffalo Bills. As I said, Mike Tomlin does find a way to win, even when he is the underdog. They're right. I think Buffalo is favored at -10 right now. And I think that, but I still do have Buffalo winning, as I just think they are the better team in this situation.
The score will be 27-24 Pittsburgh. Look, Pittsburgh, after they made that defensive change of putting Patrick Peterson, or wait, what's his name?
Patrick Peterson.
Putting him at safety and making the quarterback change, he just looks so much better. George Pickens had actually pretty good year statistically, even though he had some troubles off the field. But Najee Harris and Jalen Warren is a great running back duo, and I think Mike Tomlin will easily know how to neutralize Josh Allen, as he's such a threat, but he just has so many bad games where the Steelers are really good at turning turnovers into points, and that's going to be the Buffalo Bills' biggest challenge so far.
I completely agree with that. They do have a way of turning over. The Pittsburgh Steelers do find a way of turning over the ball, but the one factor I have to lay in here is T.J. Watt is not playing for them. He is not playing this Sunday.
I know.
So it's huge for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. That's a big loss for them, and Buffalo could capitalize on it, because I don't think there'll be as much pressure there was with T.J. Watt. But we'll see what happens in this game. Should be a very entertaining one.
All right, everyone, that concludes Season 2, Episode 1 of the Game Plan Pod. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be here next week. I'm Peter.
I'm Vincent.
See you next time.